It is time for the last book haul in a while because I won't even be in the UK when you are watching this video. I'll either be in Slovenia, Denmark or the Faroe Islands, so I won't be having any new books to show you guys for a while. But I'm really happy that this book haul is going to be one of the best hauls I have ever made on this channel. I have so many signed books, some Brandon Sanderson, some completed series and a lot of indie books. This haul will have a bit of everything. But first, a special thanks to my patrons who support me and my passion for books. Now, let's get into it. Firstly, we have arguably the most beautiful books that I own, or at least when it comes to the edges, and that is the special editions of the Serpent Gates duology from the Broken Binding. Now, these books are signed and numbered and have these crazy beautiful edges. Would you just look at those edges? I have read the Unspoken Name and I believe I gave it 3 stars. I did enjoy it, but it's a very hard book to recommend because it's just so weird. You can read my full thoughts on the book on my blog, but I'll definitely be giving this book a try as well. Then we have The Priority of the Orange Tree. This is a first edition hardback, and would you just look at how chunky that is. I've had this book on my radar for a long time, and I've heard a lot of mixed things about this book. But I found someone on Twitter selling this book for a really good price, so I thought I should just give this one a try. I also adore the cover art. If you read this one, then definitely let me know if it's worth reading. The Red Rising in hardbacks. I recently met up with Abby and some other friends in London, and she was trying to sell the Red Rising hardbacks. Now, this series has been on my TBR for a very long time, and she had a really reasonable price point for these, so I thought, why not? These books are also in pretty great condition, so I'm hopeful that this series will be a hit for me because, as some of you guys know, I really struggled with sci-fi quite a lot, and a lot of people have recommended giving this one a try. I'll definitely give the first 2 books a try since I've heard the first book is definitely the weakest one in the series. Also, Abby very generously gave me book 2 and 3 for free in the Broken Earth trilogy. I already owned the first book in this trilogy, which she knew, and she just wanted to unhaul the book 2 and 3, and she just gave them to me for free. What a generous soul. I now have the complete Broken Earth series. This is definitely a priority series for me to read this year. I still haven't read a single Jemisin book, and I've heard that the Broken Earth trilogy is arguably Jemisin's strongest and best writing. It sounds like a very unique fantasy series with very strong themes, so I can't wait to dive into this one. Also, this series is being adapted, so I definitely need to check out what the hype is about. Also, please check out Abby's channel. I'll leave a link down below. She is a great booktuber who's really passionate about fantasy as well. Then we have my monthly goals per book, and this month's book is Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro. This is the first book in the Talons trilogy series, and this is a historical fantasy. The premise definitely has me intrigued. It sounds a bit like a Stranger Things-esque kind of story, and I'm a huge fan of Stranger Things. Also, these are definitely some of the best sprayed edges I have ever seen on the goals per book. I love this design so much. This edition is also signed and numbered, and this month's books includes a very cool premium bookmark. Would you look at that? How cool is that? I'm definitely interested in giving this one a try, but I have no idea when I'll get to it. Rise of the Mages by Scott Drakeford. Scott very generously contacted me on Twitter and offered to send me a signed copy with no strings attached, and Scott Drakeford is actually a published author with Tor, so that is really cool to see. This book sounds like a revenge / coming of age story, and I'm definitely interested in giving this one a try. I don't think this one has been published in the UK yet, but you can, I believe, order this one in paperback on Book Depository if you are interested. I love fantasy books and I love signed books, so Scott, you definitely have my attention. Hopefully I can give this one a try later this year. Did anyone say Brandon Sanderson? As you can see on my shelves, I'm kinda collecting the whole of the Cosmere in the UK hardbacks, and I was finally able to find Arcanum Unbounded in the UK hardback with the dust jacket. I once ordered this in hardback from Amazon, but this edition is much smaller and didn't match the other ones I already have, so I'm really happy to finally have this one in matching editions. I found this one quite cheap on the Facebook marketplace, so yeah, really happy to have this one. I still have some books I need to read in the Cosmere first before I can dive into this one, but hopefully I'll get to it soon. The Exile by Ryan Cahill. Now, this book is really special to me for several reasons. Firstly, Ryan Cahill has become a friend of mine over the past year, and I'm really happy to be able to support him. Secondly, this book is signed and numbered, so it matches the other books I have in the series, which is fantastic. Also, Ryan Cahill kindly used a quote from my review on the back of the blurb for this book, which honestly just feels so crazy. But the best part is that I have a cameo in this book. Yes, a character named Johan is brutally murdered. How cool is that? Also, the story itself is absolutely fantastic, and the Exile is arguably Kai's strongest writing yet. Where Heroes Were Born by Tom Dombrill. Tom has also become a friend of mine over the past year, and he very kindly sent me the concluding book in this trilogy. Now, I have read the first 2 books in the series and I enjoyed them quite a lot. However, according to the early reviews coming in, this book is apparently a considerable step up in quality regarding prose and storytelling, so I'm really excited to read this one soon. Also, I now have all 3 books in the series in matching editions. Thank you so much, Tom. Lord of the Silver Bow by David Gemmell. I was contacted by the Second Story, which is a second-hand UK-based sci-fi and fantasy online bookshop. That's a long sentence. And they asked me if they could send me a free book. And you know, I couldn't say no to a free book. So they sent me the hardback of The Lord of the Silver Bow by David Gemmell, which is pretty cool. I actually haven't read anything by Gemmell yet, which I definitely need to change. Thank you to Second Story for sending me this book. I'll leave their link in the description down below. Chronicles of Gensekai by Virginia McLean. I was really fortunate to win all these 3 books in a giveaway back in February, I think. These books took more than 4 months to arrive, but they are finally here, and they are definitely worth the wait. Not only did Virginia sign them, but these hardbacks have stunning covers and even more stunning art on the naked hardback. You can clearly see that Virginia put a lot of love into crafting these beautiful books. I don't know much about the story itself, but I'm definitely interested in reading these, especially now that I own the hardbacks. Thank you so much to Virginia for this amazing prize. Perils of Sea and Sky by Lillian Horn. I was contacted by the publisher Rising Action a while back, and they asked me if I wanted to read and review this book. Now, my reading schedule is very full, but they said that this was a steampunk fantasy inspired by Scandinavian mythology. I am Scandinavian myself, and I haven't read many steampunk fantasies, so this book sounds incredibly unique and interesting. Unfortunately, I must say that the cover art is pretty bad in my opinion. I really hope this book gets another cover for the final release, because this doesn't look that good. Especially considering that most fantasy books now are getting incredibly beautiful covers. But never judge a book by its cover, right? We're almost at the end. Ascendant by Michael R. Miller. Michael R. Miller is a well-known name in the indie fantasy community, and Ascendant has more than 3,000 ratings on Goodreads, which is incredibly impressive for an indie fantasy book. Now, Michael contacted me a while ago on Twitter and offered me to send me his book, and that was just way too tempting to say no to. This book sounds like a fun adventure where dragons play a big role, which sounds fantastic. Also, the cover art is absolutely stunning, and this book currently has an impressive 4.37 rating on Goodreads. I have no idea when I'll get to this, but hopefully soon. Thank you so much, Michael. Last but not least, A.R. Witham very kindly sent me a copy of The Legend of Blackjack. Witham actually contacted me a while ago and asked me if he could send me his book, but I didn't get back to him because I was so busy. But he then contacted me again and told me he really wanted to send me this book. I'm definitely very intrigued by the premise, and this is a self-published book, and I'm always glad to be able to support indie authors. I'll put up the synopsis here. Please do give this one a look if you're looking for an indie fantasy book. Thank you so much to Witham for sending me this book. And that is it. Did you spot any favorites? Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.